Hey, Jonathan, you like free money?
I do not hate free money.
Do you like free rolling?
I love free rolling.
Well, the Nitrogen Sports Poker Room is for you because every Sunday the poker guys are hosting a 100 millibit free roll. That's about $250 right now.
Right now.
Yeah, it could go way up. Who knows?
It does.
It's pretty good. Use the link in the description of this podcast when you sign up for Nitrogen for access to that free roll and that free money.
There's also cool bonus free rolls if you play enough cash in any 1 week. All this extra stuff, you can also see that in the description. There's a link that explains that as well.
Get on Nitrogen, play with the poker guys, play the free rolls.
Get you some poker.
Joel Mika is a name that you may not have heard before, but he did have his moment back in the day, and he played against a very famous guy who I believe was famous for being a really good waiter at like a steak restaurant where he puts the pepper on your salad.
I don't think that's right.
Why is his nickname the Grinder?
It's not because of grinding peppercorns together, Grant.
Then what is the reason?
He grinded out the poker, bro.
Oh!
He grinded.
Oh. That makes more sense.
He was grinding.
That makes more sense.
Lunch pail.
So when I saw him and
Hard hat.
I said, "What's up, Pepper Grinder?" Was that weird for him?
I don't think it was.
Okay.
I guess that a lot.
Anyway, we are very close to the bubble in the PCA. This is a big moment for everybody, and everybody is really deep.
Really deep. Of course, the PCA, one of the most famous tournaments in the world, so be aware of that, too.
Yeah, you better be aware of that.
This thing was suggested to us on Twitter by Pedro Almeida. If you have a suggestion for the poker guys and the breakdown, let us know on Twitter, and make sure you include a loot.
Yeah, include one of those. Include a YouTube link. Anyway, we're going to break this hand down as we go, so get ready for some analysis.
We're moving closer to the money bubble. 152 players remain. Blind still 1,500, 3,000. George Clyde Smith has ace-queen under the gun.
G to the CS with another big ace.
Raises, and then raised to 6,000. Joel Mika has 8-7 off.
Looks like those chips he just won off Grinder might be burning a hole in his pocket.
He will re-raise. It's a 3-bet to 16,200.
This 3-bet is looser than Grinder's pants.
Grinder has jacks on the button.
Oh, hello. And this is a perfect hand that just calleth on the button. Strong enough to cold call and play comfortably in position, but not strong enough to 4-bet get it in for this many chips.
He does call. Anyone else coming along for the ride? That'll be a no.
Clyde Smith probably isn't as worried about Grinder as he is about Mika. 3-betting and under-the-gun razors repping pretty strong.
He gives up the ace-queen.
He would have been out of position to both of them.
So we're going heads up to the flop. And that flop is Jack 8-8, trips for Mika, a full house for Mizrachi.
OMG, grossest flop ever. I haven't seen a deck this cold since EPT Hoff.
Mika checks, Mizrachi checks behind.
Stapes and Hardigan didn't really seem to mind that it went check on the flop, but I'm going to tell you who minds. We mind. The poker guys mind. But we're going to get to that after we talk about pre-flop. Usually pre-flop's not such a big thing unless JC Tran's playing. But in this case, what happened here pre-flop?
Okay, there's not a lot of great explanations, but we're going to do our best.
Yeah.
We are 7 off from the bubble in the PCA, so there's a lot going on here.
Yeah, money.
So Clyde Smith opens under the gun with ace-queen. That's totally reasonable.
Cool.
We like that.
Good job.
Why in the world is Joel Mika 3-betting 8-7 off?
It's like he's choosing a random hand. It's not like he has some
Yeah.
sort of GTO range. I
Right.
don't think anybody's GTO range 3-betting an under-the-gun razor in a high-leverage, extra-tight moment includes 7-8 offsuit. This is just spew. There's nothing to say but that. It's bad, it's spew. I don't know what he's doing.
I mean, he's clearly trying to bully Clyde Smith around on the bubble, but why pick the under-the-gun range to bully as opposed to all the other ranges
Yeah.
at the table?
I know, it doesn't seem to make any sense to me.
Yeah.
Mizrachi's decision is a bit easier, but still, it's kind of a crappy spot because it's a little bit transparent no matter what you do with jacks here. 4-betting seems like it could become a disaster really quickly.
Oh, yeah.
Folding is out of the question.
No.
But flatting seems transparent.
Yeah, and to be clear, the reason why 4-betting sucks is you're up against the under-the-gun razor, who is currently uncapped and can reopen the action.
Right.
And Mika, who just decided to 3-bet the under-the-gun razor. Jack's only doing okay, and once we 4-bet, anyone who decides to put more chips in, we are at best flipping.
Yeah, and maybe not even flipping at this point in the tournament.
Maybe not.
It's possible. So flatting is the only thing you can really do here, but it just feels like it's always 9s, 10s, or jacks, or maybe ace-queen suited, you know?
Yeah, maybe once in a while ace-king in this exact spot, but very few hands.
Whatever, he flats. That's the right decision in our mind.
Sure.
What is Clyde Smith doing now?
No.
He's getting 4.6 to 1 with ace-queen, and everybody's deep. Why is he folding?
because they're 6 off the bubble, or they soon will be.
So just flop 1 pair and fold sometimes. Go for a 2 pair or better flop. It doesn't matter. You're getting 4.6 to 1. It's fine.
Yeah.
Just call. It's 10K more. No big deal.
The price is way too good, and you get to close the action. This is absurd.
Either way, we get heads up to the flop, and Clyde Smith was right to fold, obviously, because
Clearly.
look at this flop. It's terrible for ace-queen, and these guys both smash it. So obviously, his fold was a genius fold.
But speaking of genius plays, why in the world would Joel Mika, after raising with 10-8, sorry,
10-7, or 8-7.
oh my gosh.
What have we done?
We can't believe it. It's so bad. It makes no sense to us. We cannot come up with the hand. 8-7 offsuit. You raise, you smash the flop in a way you could really never hope to.
Yeah, it's amazing.
How can you check this flop?
Against Michael the Grinder Mizrachi. This
Right.
guy is a maniac and everybody knows it. It's not like Joel Mika doesn't know who this guy is.
Right.
He knows Mizrachi is a guy who's going to play back at him constantly. We did a dumb thing and raised with 7-8 preflop, and we got mana from heaven.
Yeah.
And now we're just like, mana from heaven, I don't care. Throw it in the dumpster. I'm going to check. I don't care. We could get value from so many Mizrachi hands here. All of his pairs, he's going to float a ton with whatever. He might have flatted with 4-5 suited in this spot because he's Michael Mizrachi. He's crazy.
I mean, let's be clear. The range that we gave Mizrachi, that entire range is at least calling if we bet, and is often going to try and play back at us. So it's a great time to bet for sure and get value and build up this pot when we flop so good.
We should be trying to get it in by the river as Mika at this point, and checking is not necessarily the way.
I agree. However, I think it's even worse that Mizrachi checks.
Okay, explain that.
Okay, because let's think about Michael the Grinder freaking Mizrachi in this spot. What hands in the world does this guy ever check? He's not checking anything that misses here, I don't think.
No.
All of his misses. If he's got ace-queen, he's betting to get ace-king to fold and to win the hand later on, and down the street, like on the turn of the river.
Down the street, yeah.
I mean.
Down the street, like you walk down the street,
I say
then
down
you
the
win the
street?
hand. You're
Yeah.
Michael the Grinder Mizrachi.
So if he has any value, he's going to bet. If he has 2 10s, I think he's probably betting. That may be the one hand in the world
he
he
might
actually
check back.
checks, maybe 10s, maybe 9s. Everything else is betting for sure, and probably 10s and 9s also, because the pot's already significant, and he wants to put pressure on Mika, which is what he does. So when the Grinder checks, that is kind of illuminating and may give Mika some clues as to the strength of Grinder's hand. There's no reason to do that.
That whole thought process, by the way, makes Mika's check a little bit better.
It does.
It helps a little bit. I still really prefer him to bet in this spot, but knowing that the Grinder is going to bet so frequently, that makes the check a little bit better.
I mean, also, what in the world is Mika ever check folding to the Grinder?
I don't know.
Always going to call. He's checking with showdown value for sure.
Yes, absolutely.
This is such a clear bet for the Grinder. I can't believe he misses.
I know he has the board smashed and he's afraid of losing his opponent, but the way Mika played the hand, he doesn't have 7 high right now, right? He's going to bet 7 high to try to win the pot.
Right.
So he's got at least ace high, and against Michael the Grinder Mizrachi, you can't check fold ace high. So obviously Mizrachi is missing out on some value here. Maybe he can get it later though, because obviously Mika has a monster too. Let's see what happens.
I mean, they're both lucky.
Who's trapping who here?
Who's going to slow play it the hardest?
Mika now bets the turn, 25,500.
He loses the game of reverse chicken. Grinder might be thinking about a raise, and this is where him barreling with complete nonsense a lot of the time is going to get him paid like he's passing go.
That is a raise. 55,500 total.
Really bad spot for Mika.
55,
Oh, just 55? Okay, I guess.
51 total. No, 55, 5, right?
Mika's little confusion game might sometimes work. Unfortunately, Grinder so doesn't care. Mika likely thinks Grinder's trying to rep his hand.
So Mika calls, 157,000 in the middle. The river, the deuce of spades, does complete a potential flush. Mika checks.
UNLV, University of Nevada, looking for value, and Grinder's going to be this year's valedictorian.
160.
He overbets the pot, 160,000. What's Channing Tatum over there going to do now?
I think Magic Mika called the turn pretty sure he was trapping, maybe sensing there's a chance he's behind. This is not a good river card, and Grinder just bombed it, so this is a real decision.
That's 160.
I think most players are going to unhappily call here. We've seen Grinder just fire and fire and fire with air or near air, and Mika knows it. So in the long run, you can't fold hands this strong against Grinder. In the short run, it's possible he makes some kind of soul read. Wants to see how much he'll be left with if he makes this call, and the answer is not much. The problem is we know that Grinder is so capable of making this bluff.
That was so sick.
Agreed. Sicker than I was after the open bar at the kickoff party. It would be absolutely amazing if he can get away from this, but I think more often than not, he's going to have to white knuckle it and just call.
I can't believe I'm folding this.
He lays it down!
Wow, I can't believe it either. Somebody just unlocked the tight laydown badge on Poker Square.
I'm sure that joke was relevant a few years ago, but I have no idea what that means, Stapes. I don't know what Poker Square is.
No.
None of it makes any sense.
Is it like Foursquare but poker?
I hope so.
Does that make sense? No, it doesn't make
No,
sense.
it's dumb. Let's move on.
Let's talk about poker, okay?
Okay.
All right, so this is a good fold, but once we really break it down, it's going to seem a little bit more obvious. However, I want to be clear. It is impressive in the moment, especially to do it against Michael Mizrachi.
Right. But we are now 6 off the bubble because one more person's busted. So everything's a little bit tighter and more clear anyway. Everything's a bit more defined. And now we have this turn play.
Right.
Mika bets trying to get value, understandably. It looks like Grinder's got at least a showdownable hand because he checked back himself on the flop. And Grinder raises.
So that's a little bit scary for Mika,
Yeah.
specifically because it is a 10. Remember the pre-flop range we outlined for Grinder? 9s, 10s, jacks, ace, queen suited? Well, now 10s and jacks are both crushing Mika. He has one out against those hands. And Grinder rates to have those hands pretty frequently the way the hand's played.
Yeah, he may have those more often than ace queen suited, honestly.
Yeah, he really might.
So that's not great. But Mika can't really fold
I know.
yet.
He checked the flop.
He checked the flop, and it's possible for Grinder to have spades here.
Yeah, it is possible for Grinder to have spades, but then this is the river.
Yeah.
So that's a spade for those of you who couldn't see it closely enough. That means if Grinder was doing a semi-bluff move on the turn, which is very possible with ace queen of spades, his most likely spade holding, he got there, right? So now there's one more hand that Mika can't beat. And what bluffs are there? They have to just be random bluffs that the Grinder decided to check on the flop. That's a key. If somehow he shows up here with 4 or 5 of diamonds because he's a crazy guy and he wants to play on the button, he's going to bet the flop, right? When he's given the opportunity, he's going to bet the flop.
I have to believe he's going to bet the flop. By the way, Mika then bet called a raise.
Yes.
So that's another very strong data point for Grinder if he was bluffing. He might give up when the spade comes because it really looks like Mika himself can have spades here.
Yeah, wouldn't Mika play ace king or ace queen of spades exactly this way? He
might.
would very likely check this flop. He would at least sometimes check the flop.
Sure.
He's definitely going to bet this turn, and he can't fold the turn. So Grinder can't expect to fold out the nut flush, meaning it's a lot less likely that Grinder's bluffing here.
And in fact, Grinder's clearly betting pot size here to get value from the nut flush.
Right, or maybe a hero-y overpair type hand that somehow Mika decided to check on the flop against the Grinder. I don't know, he checked trip 8, so maybe he would. I have no idea what really is going on there.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Either way, Grinder chooses this big size probably to try to make up for lost value on the flop. Probably also just to say, if you're going to call, you're going to call. I'm putting in all this money. I'm the Grinder. I'm the guy who is on the bubble trying to bully you. I'm bluffing, buddy. You better call me.
I mean, that part normally can work, but the story leading up to it isn't so great.
Yeah.
Checking the flop, raising the turn, bombing the river on this board, and the way this thing played out, even pre-flop, it's just really hard for Grinder not to have it here.
If the deuce wasn't a spade, then maybe Mika could convince himself that the Grinder's doing this with missed spades and make a call. But because the spade came in, Mika himself can have spades, Grinder can have spades. A bluff is so much less likely, especially considering the check on the flop. I know this all makes it sound pretty easy to fold, but in the moment against this guy, it's not that easy. It's a pretty good fold.
Yeah, especially the in the moment thing is part of it too. Like I didn't expect it was going to be so obvious to us till we did our podcast about it. We spent 40 minutes talking about it and analyzing. It's like, oh, well, yeah, look at all this stuff. Look what's being represented. Yes, but Mika did it in real time, and that makes it more impressive. And like Grant said, against this guy's reputation, that's even better.
And that fold made him a lot of money because he went on to get second in the event for over $1 million.
1.2 big ones. So would you have made this fold too? Do you think the reasoning is sound that the poker guys laid out? Do you think that the flop play with all the checks was actually good? Let us know if you disagree with us or agree with us on any of these points in the comments. We're going to respond to our favorite ones right up here. If there's nothing to click on, it's coming soon.
Now that was a pretty good PCA fold, but we've seen a better one. I'm going to put my foot down on that one. It's a really old hand, so forgive us on the quality. It's back in the ancient ages of the poker guys, but it's such a cool hand. Some physical tells in there. You got to check it out. It's called He Did What? Click right up there to check it out.
Yeah, I mean the level of quality, production value is very, very low.
Yeah.
It's like there's, instead of like titles, it's like hieroglyphics and stuff. But still, it's an incredible hand. It's really worth watching.
Yeah.
For sure. Also, make sure you check out our podcast, The Breakdown, presented by the Poker Guys. We talked for like 45 minutes about this hand, going deep, deep, deep into ranges, all the mistakes we thought were made and why, breaking it all the way down.
Talked a little bit about the other Mizrachi brothers.
We did.
We have some insights into them.
Yeah, a lot of really useful insights for sure.
Hair product related.
That.
Yeah.
And if you like this video, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel.